Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come.
Yeah, Tuesday. What's up, everybody? Tuesday morning. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Everybody had a great trading day yesterday in what turned out to be a pretty volatile day as we saw the markets give us a little whipsaw early in the morning. And that whipsaw that we saw early in the day had a negative impact on a number of our trades that we had looked at yesterday. But you know what? Those things happen, and we're ready to march forward today. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get the alerts and the updates. If you're a regular viewer, make sure that you hit that thumbs up icon. Okay, let's go ahead and get rolling. So starting first with the S&P. So looking here at the ES, what we can see is yesterday's, like I said, the big whipsaw level, and we were looking at this area here as a potential reversal area yesterday, but the market just sliced right through it, and we're going to see that in all of our equity markets. As it stands today, we are still sitting below our breakout point of 38.59, which is the all-time high, and that little whipsaw right through here eliminated any of the buy orders that created this move up. Doesn't mean that level still won't be valid going forward. I just don't really have a whole lot of reason to trust any of the demand or supply areas between current price and my breakout, or really between current price and this level down here. Could we retest some of these levels down here? Probably. If we go down to a smaller time frame like the 15-minute chart, I mean, we can see that this was just a precipitous move down, where we saw the market just come hammering down right after the open, and then just rally right back up, came right up off the bottom, and then moved higher. So now what I'm looking at is potential breakout above this region here. So we're just going to kind of hold strong and wait for price to give us a good entry signal. If you want to try an overnight area, if you're looking for an intraday opportunity, Globex overnight area right here may be worth considering. This 38.28 by 38.26 as a potential Globex area, I think that would be the only one that makes any sense. Looking next at the NASDAQ. So in our NASDAQ position, very similar picture, with not a lot of reversal areas below us. NASDAQ rallied up in the morning. It was up higher yesterday morning than the S&P was. So not overly surprised to see the move, but then we rocketed straight down. Now this area was the area that we said that if we break below, price could drop, but certainly we would need the basing in front of the level to make that a valid level. So I'm going to leave the breakout here as a potential area. But other than that, we've got really nothing that's open aside from price getting above that all-time high if we get the proper basing. And so I just don't see a whole lot in the equity markets today between our zones of demand and supply. Russell looks very similar to the NASDAQ as well. It popped up to a new all-time high yesterday and then immediately sold off very quickly. So I'm wondering if they're, when we take a look at what triggered that major market move yesterday, I mean, for it to go so quickly in such a quick period of time, we know that was algorithmically driven, right? Whenever you see that big of a move up and down, that's definitely computers, algos, and there was a lot of news with GameStop yesterday and the circuit breaker on that one as it was ridden straight up. And so the question then becomes is how much of this was algorithmically and computerized trading that caused that price movement? And so I'm really not looking for areas of demand and supply in there to come back for a strong turning point and reversal. So today I'm going to kind of sit on the sidelines in the equity markets until they show me a good clean direction. All right, looking over to our energies and metals, starting with crude oil. We talked yesterday about the fact that crude oil is not really giving us a whole lot, and we're between our areas of demand and supply, and we didn't really have a good level identified. And that still remains the case. We're in between our ranges. I know some people have been selling options on crude oil in between this little range that we've been sitting in, and that's certainly still a potential and a possibility. But I hate to take the easy way out and tell you that I'm not looking at a lot of these trades today, but I'm really trying to be a bit more cautious and not identify positions that are going to be a bit weaker. Same thing with gold. We talked about a potential area in here yesterday that was not the best on a 15-minute. We had looked at our at a potential reversal level right here around the London Open, and it just poked a little bit below there, knowing though that we are still very much in the middle of a sideways trend. And so when you're in that 4-hour kind of chop, it's very difficult to really gain much of a direction. For those of you that, once again, that sold the, I don't want the daily, I want the hourly. For those of you that sold the options positions on here, you're still doing okay. I am seeing a little bit more, what we would imagine to be weakness to the downside, but it's not really been proven as of yet. So if you really wanted to look on a smaller time period, even on a 15-minute, I guess you could look at this region up in here. But I just don't see, once again, a whole lot of tradable markets in here and tradable opportunities. Moving on to our ags, as we take a look at our ags and our ag positions. We did have a couple of these yesterday that worked out a bit better. We had a supply level right up in here that then sold off. We got a nice little move on that one. It was about a 3-to-1 off that move yesterday afternoon into the early part of the evening. And so now when we look at the ags, we put in a little bit more positive bullish momentum here on soybeans. 4-hour chart tells me that my move down, I'm working on a different computer than I normally work on, which is why I got a few different things today. Which is my my move down is we're still heading down. I've not put in a higher swing high yet. But if we do put in a higher swing high above this area here, then that's going to turn my supply areas above me to confirmation trades. Right? So just keep an eye on that going forward. And then I would look for a demand area on a pullback. Same thing with corn as well. Corn, we had a little supply level here, got a little bit of a move away, not as big as we did in bean oil. Wheat, same picture, was this area right in here, but they're all building a little bit more of a potential base, and could resume our bigger picture. I will say that this area here is pretty intriguing, in that if we continue to get basing below it, you might get a breakout up above. Technically our 4-hour trend is still down. But could this be the reversal of that 4-hour trend with a target up there at 658 for target number 1? I think that would be where I would be looking. And then let's take a look real quick at bonds and currencies. We talked about the breakout yesterday in the ZN, so certainly that breakout did occur. And if you missed the breakout, you could take the retest on back to here as a support area. Eventual target, being up here at 137.205. We've kind of slowed down there a bit, although I think you got another opportunity for a breakout up above here, and we're just running up. You talking resistance and support, and get above that area of resistance. You got an opportunity for the next move to go a bit higher. Same thing in the 30-year, although the 30-year we broke above, and kind of didn't go as strong. And there's a reversal still down below that is available for trade. The euro yesterday, we did have a nice bounce off of our euro demand. We had a euro demand down in here. We got a really nice bounce off of that level. Came back in and retested it again and got a decent little bounce. And now that level's continuing to drop. So with that level continuing to drop, remember our 4-hour still for the most part sideways, but our momentum is coming down. And so with our momentum coming down, I'm not really going to lean heavily on this level again. I think that the better probability is for price to continue to fall. And so I'll look for basing somewhere in this region if we do get basing somewhere in this region for a breakdown, because then I think you've got room to run down to 1.209. I think that would be the ultimate spot there. And then the Canadian dollar broke below our breakout point, didn't really give me the basing that would cause me to get into the trade. If you didn't take that, you may have taken a retest back to the area. And if you didn't take that, well, then you certainly still have opportunities. I think that when I look at the Canadian dollar, my eye immediately goes to this zone right here. Right up in there is where my brain immediately goes to. I don't know that we're going to make it back up into that level today, but that level is still very much in play. And then we have a demand level below us that's still valid, which is a wick over wick above a pivot low. But it's in direct contrast to our trend direction. So once again, that would have to be a confirmation entry. Looking at our last bonds and currencies, the New Zealand dollar, this flip level is still, being an area that we're seeing price turn and change direction in that zone. Once again, I think if we break below there, that becomes resistance, as it's acted as support a number of times. And so I'm going to leave that flip level intact. That area could still be once more a demand area that we could bounce off of, but I think it's better to see if we base inside of it, then you get a breakdown, and then I think the long down here is also still valid. The Great British Pound, we looked yesterday at it, the trend on here on a 4-hour. Looking at our 4-hour trend, our 4-hour trend shows me a lower swing low and a lower swing high, and so it's the very beginnings of a downtrend. We talked about that line that I just erased as being kind of a line in the sand, if you will, a bit of an inflection point. And so whenever I see those inflection points, I think, okay, this could be an opportunity to start at the beginning of the next move down. Do I know if it's going to hold for sure? Absolutely not. But if you wanted to be a bit more, I guess the word would be aggressive, and take advantage of what could become a next bigger move down. Because, just look at the 4-hour. You clearly are seeing momentum slow on the way up. And you got lower swing lows and lower swing highs. If you wanted to just get short and leave a stop up above here, you've got very limited risk in that position based on where we are at this moment, especially with the basing that we're getting right around here. It's nearly a candle-to-candle style of trading, even though we're not getting the cleanest reversal candle at this exact moment. You could look at that as an opportunity right in here. Japanese yen is still very sideways in between our breakout areas that we've identified of both supply and demand. You've got some other smaller breakouts on smaller time frames available that you could look at as a potential long. But as it stands right now, we're still in between those levels, so not a whole lot for me to do. And then the Australian dollar, we bounced off of our supply level. This is our supply level from Sunday night's live trade room. It's continued to move down. You had another opportunity right up in here. If that level comes back up and gets hit, keep an eye on that one for a potential reversal at 77108. So that's what I have for today. Once again, I appreciate you guys joining me on today's session. We will also be doing tomorrow's session in a recorded version. So if you guys have any questions, please shoot me an email, chuck.fulkerson@tradersarmy.com. Until tomorrow, everybody, I will talk to you soon. See ya.